sun, framing a picture with the dock as leading lines and the shore leading into the picture. Waves, I'm doing a 30-second shot, and the waves will all be smoothed out. This will all be like fun. So, given the flat light and what we have to work with, I figured making use of the geometry and the structures here would help us create an interesting picture. So that's what I'm doing right now. So the tide is definitely coming in quickly. These rocks over here, which I just took a couple of pictures of, were out of the water when I got here, which was 10 minutes ago. So I didn't bring my boots, so I have to watch where I'm stepping. I'm going to go take a look under the pier here to see if there are any good shots, but I have to keep an eye on the tide, as you can hear it, coming in fast. So, just quite a few setbacks up on Cypress Bowl, and down here with blank skies and no interesting light. Managed to find a few interesting pictures here, you know, using the geometry in the shore for leading lines, taking longer exposures. You know, on a 365 project, 366 this year, because it's a leap year, it's hard to find new pictures every day. So I'm always happy when I end up with one which seems to be pretty reasonable, and I think I got one today. So anyhow, that's it for us today, and good night. Bottom of Capilano Canyon, just below the Cleveland Dam, and came looking for some long exposures of water going over rocks, which create those sort of haystack pictures. When we got here, I found that the water was lower than I expected it was, so most of those rocks were out of the water, so I had to improvise and find some other stuff. When we got here, this walkway, which leads to the staircase back here, was actually out of the water, completely exposed. As we were taking pictures over here, it started to come up, and we had to flee back to dry land so that it wouldn't get wet. Took a few pictures over here, then I went over there to try and get the pictures that I was looking for. Wasn't really finding them. I tried a few different things. Tried narrow, tried wide, did a few panos. We'll see what I got. Right now my longer lens is in being repaired for when we were here the last time, when I actually managed to drop my camera and lens in 2 feet of water, which that wasn't a good thing. So I'm working on my my A7S, which is 2 generations old. I have 2 other cameras in being fixed and the lens being fixed now. So I'm left with my wide lens and I have to make do with that. Had a good time down here. Got a few pictures, took a little video, and hopefully one of the pictures will come out. So anyhow, good talking to you, and have a good night. This week they opened up Lynn Headwaters Park for the first time since COVID began, and as usual in the evening we don't have any good ideas as to what we're going to take pictures of. So I figured we should come over to Lynn Headwaters since we hadn't been here for a while. When we got here, I realized we'd never done the Lynn Valley Loop, so we decided to try that out. Now it's a loop which starts off down at the river, climbs a quarter of the way up the mountain, goes along the side of the mountain and back down again. And it's gorgeous. There's loads of stumps and ferns and trees and lots of things to take pictures of. Because it's the evening and the park locks up at 9 o'clock, we kind of had to hurry it, so we didn't get a chance to really give it its justice. But we decided, we'll come back on another day and take our time. But in the meantime, we found all the stuff that we'd want to take pictures of in the future. I'm sure I did get a good one of this glorious burnt stump, which is 40 feet high and carved like a sculpture. So I'm hoping I got one of those for today. But anyhow, you can see it's beautiful halfway down the side of the mountain, and now I have to say goodbye because we have to rush back to the car before we're locked in here. Well, tonight we had no light to speak of and also no inspiration to speak of, so we thought we'd head down to the Lonsdale Quay and do some time lapses. Well, as we were driving down the hill, we saw these beautiful clouds on the horizon, the only light anywhere. It was just a little tiny bit, with the rest covered with clouds. So we said, okay, let's go over to Ambleside. So we head over to Ambleside, and when we got here, it's like, just kind of blah, with no clouds, with clouds everywhere, basically. And some over on the horizon you can see, that was just open and there were a few nice clouds. So Michelle set up here, near the pier, and I just kind of wandered off that way looking for some pictures. Didn't really find anything at all. I was completely out of it. While I was gone, Michelle was talking to a gentleman here at the pier who was telling her about these two eagles that live on top of the building right over there. And he comes down and brings some food in the evening. And so while I was off, Michelle got a beautiful video of this eagle coming down and grabbing food off the end of the pier and taking off back to the top of the building. So that was great. Michelle had something for the night, but what I didn't have anything. I had nothing at all. So Michelle told me the fellow was going home to pick up a little more meat, so we sat here and waited. I played with focus modes because I haven't really done any pictures of birds and stuff, and figured out the best focus mode for doing it. Put on the long lens that I have, the 70-200, and then he came back and I went up on the pier and he put out the meat in the water. He just tossed it in and the eagles came down and got a few really nice pictures. So that's what we ended up doing tonight. Not at all what we expected to do, which it tends to be the way it happens. We're going to go out to do one thing and you never get what you're expecting. Anyhow, it was a lot of fun. It was great seeing these eagles, and that's it for tonight. We're going to head home. Today we went a little urban. We came to the other side of the Ironworkers Bridge, just at the corner of Burnaby, and came down to look around and found this treehouse, which seems to be about 4 or 5 stories tall, and then went exploring more. We knew there was a treehouse which overlooked the inlet and the Ironworkers Bridge. So we went and climbed up that and got some pictures of the bridge. Then we took the path underneath the bridge, underneath the ironworkers and the highway, and we found this wonderful tunnel on the other side, leading lines everywhere, lights. The walls have been painted a million times by taggers and covered over, and it's all a big patchwork, and it was super cool. Explored around a bit. Came back, we found some interesting pictures, so we didn't have to look around too much. Then we came back up here to record this, of course. Like it's been lately, we're getting stuff we did not expect. Just all kinds of really cool things, and as I say, much more urban than what we've been doing regularly, which is, streams and the ocean and birds and stuff. So it's a nice change of pace. So here we are out in nature again. Today was a day of mishaps for us. We tried to go up to Kennedy Falls, which is a fairly long hike on Mount From. But before we could get anywhere, a bicycle fell in our shed and hit Michelle on her head. And she started bleeding all over the place. So that put a stop to that. She's just fine. Don't worry about that. Just it put a crimp in our plans at that point. Other stuff happened during the day, so we never actually got out, though we meant to spend a good 5 hours hiking. So it ended up we had our usual thing in the evening where we're going, okay, what do we do now for pictures, because we need to get out and do pictures, and we need to take Mr. here to walk. So we brought him with us this time. He loves coming, but he makes it very difficult for us to shoot. And we came back to a place called Inter River Park. Last time we were here, it was super crowded, millions of people. And you know, it was really hard to avoid them and get a little space. This time, there was no one. We had it pretty much to ourselves. The only problem with it was there's a number of boardwalks and stairs, and Taz has a hard time with those now because he's an old dog, so his rear legs don't really work well. So we didn't go too far. We went along, we went up some steps, down some steps, over some boardwalks, took some pictures of some trees, took some pictures of some roots, and then we came on back. So didn't really get to work anything, and this is why it's hard to shoot with him, because he gets very impatient. Anyhow, we didn't get to shoot too much, just a picture here, a picture there, got for a nice walk with Taz, and explored Inter River Park, which we didn't really get to do last time we were here. So that's it for tonight. You'll see what pictures we managed to get, and hopefully they're good. I have no idea. exactly the way we planned them to. We meant to go to Kennedy Falls today, and we got an early start, but by the time we got there at 9:15, the parking lot was completely full, and you can't park anywhere until a mile down the hill, so there was no point parking. So we decided to change plans, and we came over to Norvan Falls. This is a longer hike. Kennedy Falls would be 10 kilometers. This is 13 and a half. But it's a reasonably easy one, reasonably flat. So we got there, and we were worried the parking lot was going to be full there too, because it was backed up all the way to the entrance to the park. But we did our due diligence and went right to the end, and there was a parking spot right there, right at the park entrance. So we took that as a sign that this is the hike we should be doing, and we parked. First part of the hike's really easy. It's all on a road. Then it gets a little rougher, but none of it's too bad. Got a lot of shots along the way. Nothing very exciting. Trees, ferns, the usual kind of thing, but they're really nice. The light was great. Then we got here, Norvan Falls, and there's not that many different shots you can get here. For one thing, it gets very, very crowded. And for another thing, you're kind of funneled up to the bottom of the falls, and there's limited layouts. So we took the pictures that you have to take when you're here, and now we're going to pack up and head back. Good times.